Welcome to the Action Network studio in New York City. I'm Maria Marino, and this is Green Dot Daily. We come to you live every weekday at 3 Eastern on the Action Network YouTube channel and the Action app. Coming up on the show, the Steph Curry prop you should focus on tonight. We'll tell you what that is. Plus, when should you start betting the Nets to miss the playoffs? We'll discuss that, and we'll preview both NHL playoff games as well. But we start in the NBA, and the Nuggets and Lakers now have the best odds to win the championship at plus 300. Before the play-in tournament, the Bucks were the favorite, followed by the Celtics. The Heat had the worst odds of this bunch at plus 16,000 and are now at plus 1,400. With that, we welcome in Action Network senior writer Matt Moore. The Nuggets are the top seed in the West, but the Lakers being a play-in team and now a favorite, that's a little bit more surprising. What's your reaction to these odds?
Yeah, I mean, some of this isn't surprising, right? Where the Lakers are now up 3-1, so they're statistically more likely to reach the conference finals, which makes them more likely to reach the NBA finals. So they have a higher chance that they have to move up. Plus handle, right? Lakers being a very public team. The Nuggets are another team that the books have said have a pretty high handle. Their liability on the Nuggets is pretty high because the Nuggets, quite honestly, have been the best team in the Western Conference over the past 5-6 months. So not really surprising that much. We saw the Sixers briefly take the lead after they took the advantage last night in their series 3-2. We've had 3 different title favorites in the last 48 hours. That's a little bit crazy just in terms of the movement in all this, but it does show kind of how quickly the books have to react to the changing elements with various teams going up and down and where the handle is at. You know, one thing to keep in mind is that the Lakers series price, if they should advance and the Nuggets should advance, will probably be shorter than people anticipate. And if you're looking about the Nuggets, this is not the time. They're going on the road to Game 6. They've struggled on the road this season. There's a very good chance that the Suns extend this to a Game 7, and then you can get a better price on the Nuggets if you still feel that they win in Game 7 when they've been great at home. So if you're looking about the Nuggets, it's absolutely not now. This might, however, be the best chance that you'll get to bet the Lakers, given where their situation is. So if you're looking to get on the Lakers, this might be your last chance to get them at this kind of a number.
I appreciate the advice as far as when to bet these teams. Can I just ask you real quick, who do you believe in most?
It's a difficult question, I think, based off of the fact that, I mean, honestly, I probably believe in the Celtics the most still of anybody left on the board there. Their performance has been basically built off of their own failures and not as much what the Sixers have done. They've played well. Celtics can play better. Of those teams, I definitely go with the Nuggets. Look, the Nuggets have been objectively better, but you got to keep in mind that in the NBA, if you just bet on the Lakers to win the title every year since 2000, you'd be up. That's all you got to do is just bet on the Lakers every season to win the title and you'd be up. So NBA history says one thing, this season says another, and where you come down on that answer should probably guide your bet.
Fair enough. Let's talk more specifically about these games tonight. Knicks trying to stay alive at MSG. What's your pick?
I'm going to take the Heat plus 150. One of these teams is serious, and that's the Miami Heat. And the other team is not, and that's the New York Knicks. Look, it's fine. It's cute. It's great. They got past the Cavaliers because J.B. Bickerstaff coached maybe the worst coach playoff series in history, especially for maybe a 4 seed. But in reality, this Knicks team isn't very good. Like they're very good for regular season, but we're kind of seeing their limitations when both teams try and rebound and both teams actually play players that they should play and not, Chetty Osman a lot. So we're seeing kind of the downfall here. The Miami's had the edge. We saw it. The body language from the Knicks was really concerning in Game 4. Like they just kind of seem to know that they're beat here. Now look, that's body language. If we look at the actual metrics here, Miami's gone up 3-1, and they actually haven't had a lot of outsider shooting in terms of outliers in their performance. They shot really well in Game 1, but overall, they haven't really done that. The Knicks have not been great at home. They've been worse at home than on the road, and the power rating has kind of reflected that if you pay attention to some of the lines. Now, I will say here, home favorites, which the Knicks are, down 3-1, are 27-9 straight up since 2003. So I'm going against a lot of headwind here as far as history, but the Heat are a team that's breaking history. They're an 8 seed on the verge of making the conference finals. So I will go ahead and I will grab the Heat here as a moneyline dog, plus 150. I think they close out the Knicks, and great season, bing bong, but let's get the serious conference finals.
Well, that's a really good point you make about the Heat sort of bucking a lot of trends that we would normally come to rely on. But given what you just discussed about home favorites, we got Lakers at Warriors. Do you think the Dubs can extend their series?
Yeah, I do kind of lean towards the Warriors. I'm going to go ahead and have a play on the Warriors. It's not my best bet for the night. I do think the Golden State just in this spot, as we mentioned, 27-9 straight up. They tend to win this in this game, and they actually tend to cover about a 56% rate as well. That's lower than what we see overall. But recently, and especially this season, we've seen that if you win the game, you cover. Obviously, as a dog, you would cover you if you win, but as a favorites, if they win, they cover as well. So I'll go ahead and grab the Warriors here. My favorite play on though is under 226. This has gone under in the last two. That was my heavy lean going into the series, was on the unders. Game 2 went over, but just by the hook by a half point. And actually, if you got it early, it did go under by a half point. Kerr's been forced to play more defensive players in the series. That's why I had to start Gary Payton in order for him the second, by the way, Gary Payton the second, just trying to slow down D'Angelo Russell. And that actually Ham adjusted and was like, all right, I'm not going to play Russell. So that takes a 3-point shooter off. These teams are both heading more towards a grinded out slugfest type of game. 93% of the money in our Action Network app is tracking on the under. This under has moved down 1.5 points at some places from the open at 226.5. You can still grab a 226. That's the best number in the market. If you can, I would grab that. I do think this is going to be an ugly, slow game. Either the Lakers offense doesn't show up and they regroup for a game 6, or the Warriors offense continues to struggle and the Lakers dominate inside as they have in the paint. Either way, I like the under 226 in this game as the best bet.
I do think there's something to be said for unders in elimination games, right? When, there's just so much more pressure and you are going to clamp down defensively. I got one more for you as we just talk about the Warriors overall. Not the dominant team that we typically associate with their dynasty. What do you attribute that to?
I think it's kind of a death by a million cuts here. So they lost a lot of their depth in terms of the veterans that they brought to the table last year. Otto Porter was huge for them. He started some games. People will laugh at this, but Nemanja Bjelica was big for them in some spots. He was big in the series versus the Nuggets. He was big for them in various other series. They have lost some of the veterans, and because they were banking on growth from the young guys, James Wiseman obviously didn't work out. He's gone. Kuminga, not able to get into the rotation, has not made the leap that they expected. Moses Moody actually, they played really well in game 4. They need to see probably more of him because he brings defense and shooting, but they just haven't been able to get there. You combine that with the fact that Klay Thompson has just been a little bit worse than last season. He's not the shooter that he was. He still can be. Maybe he is tonight.